Hey, what's up, everyone? You're currently tuned into TBD on KCSB FM 91.9 in Santa Barbara and netnetradio.com, Tijuana. Today, Lietoc and I are joined by Los Angeles-based plinker, plonker, and all-around slinker, slunker, Dustin Wong. Dustin has been crafting music in various contexts, from guitar rock with Ponytail to glyph-laden spiral soundscapes with Takako Minekawa over the past 15 odd years. There's always a focus on the loop, though. With releases ranging from Warm Winters Ltd to Thrill Jockey and Umor, Dustin is back with his first for Hausu Mountain in half a decade, Perpetual Morphosis, out on August 4th. How you doing, Dustin?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Dude, thanks so much for being down to join us on the show. So what have you been up to at the moment? Like what's the first half of 2023 been like for you now that we're 6 months in?
Well, it's part of I can't really, my memory has been quite vague, but the past few months I've been working on a residency with floating.
Oh, yeah.
And it officially ended 2 days ago. It was, so the first performance was a session with Celia Hollander and Kate Kanan, two artists here in LA.
So sick.
Yeah, they're really amazing artists and keyboard and synth players. So we did a session there at the Japanese Tea Garden up at Pasadena.
Nice.
Great spot.
We love it. Story Stearns.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody knows about floating, but it's kind of an outdoor show organization. And they kind of brought me out of the pandemic last 2 years ago. It was like the first show I played.
Oh, really? That was like the first one that you did, like coming back out
of the pandemic. Yeah, because like there was probably a year of not playing shows.
Was that literally about right this time? Because I remember Floating was setting up and they kind of canceled their first proper show with Les Bells they were going to do. But I always stayed on the text because I was like, what's going on with the pre-shows in LA? Who's doing this music? And I didn't know you were one of the first ones.
Yeah, it was the first show, like the first floating show with Jeremiah Chu.
Oh, that's a crazy lineup.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
And then, we did a few more with Colin, and those recordings ended up becoming the record I'm going to put out with Leaving.
Oh, awesome.
Bryn and I are putting it out together.
Is it a collaborative one?
It's a collaborative one. It's going to come out a week after Perpetual Morphosis.
Oh, wow. Is it also tape or just tape and CD or vinyl?
I think this will be vinyl. Yeah.
Just a vinyl. All right.
Vinyl.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And yeah, so, Floating brought me back for this residency. And, the second one was with a Buto dancer. And we did a performance at the Mac Center in Hollywood for 2 days. And then
sick.
And then the Zorthian like 2 days ago. Yeah. With Patrick Shirishi, Dylan Fujioka, and Colin Blanton.
Yeah, that's also a crazy lineup. That's one of the things I wanted to ask you about. How did that show go? That's so crazy.
Well, it was like, before we went on air, I was telling you about, like Colin texting me being like, yeah, do you have any concerns for the weather? And no concerns at all. And then we get there and it's like starting to drip. And thankfully, Floating brought in a tent. And we were under there. So we got cozy in there. And as like, these kind of torrents are happening around us.
Yeah.
And, but it, I think we listened to each other and we were reacting to each other. And, yeah, I was really happy with the performance.
That's so sick. And I know you were saying you were like mixing the stems too. Do you think you'll like release that, or is that going to be like a record? Or
hopefully, I was listening to it a few times today, and I think there's a lot of potential for a record. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm interested by the Floating residencies because I've heard about them, but they are bringing a lot of different artists. I mean, they brought Claire Rose, and she's in LA. They brought also the International Anthem label, a ton of those artists
Oh
out to
yeah.
perform. But I hadn't really thought of the residency, even though it totally is a no-brainer, of you guys being able to access those soundboards, or you guys being there to improv and collab and just try to create new music from it. And so, in your
Yeah.
experience, like really over these three, what were certain threads that you were working out with, or had you worked with, were these new collaborators you were working with?
Some are new. Yeah. Kate and Celia is somebody I've never played with.
Mhm.
And Kyoko Takenaka, who was the Buto dancer, is somebody I met in December last year, and we did a performance at Art 2220 on Beverly.
Mhm.
Great spot.
Yeah, great spot. And
That's awesome.
but that was the time we met for the first time, and she gave us the score, and we kind of had to like improvise around the score.
Mhm.
Dylan, Patrick, Colin, I've played with a bunch of times. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been quite a, you know, you kind of using the process. Yeah, you're there to perform, but you're kind of making material for future things, and
Mhm.
it's that mind, that kind of like I don't know, state of mind kind of shifted when I moved here in LA, like
Mhm.
more improvised centered than like presenting compositions.
Yeah.
Previously, you were in Japan, yes?
Yeah, I was there for 6 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
and were you moving? And before that, was it also LA?
Before that, I was in New York for a year, and
Wow.
then before that, I was in Baltimore, and I was there for about 9 years. And that was kind of where I started doing. I did Ponytail and Ecstatic Sunshine, and
Mhm.
kind of started my solo stuff there as well. So yeah, very influential place, and got a lot of my education there, not just from school, but from like just the people there.
Mhm.
That's a It was a particular moment for Baltimore, because we're kind of darting, I think, to a different territory of question. There's something we got to get back to, but that's a really interesting time, that 2006 to 2010 Baltimore window.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
you do, because there's Animal Collective that's really going. They're making a jump to Domino. You have the Ecstatic Sunshine album on Car Park, and Beach House is putting out their first there, and then you also have the Dan Deacon album. So
right.
I didn't realize that you had been so entangled. And I think we're coming a generation after Ponytail, and Ponytail is like it's a band that we're not exposed to. They didn't
Mm.
get best new music, or they didn't quite get into a conversation, but this is really beautiful, great guitar rock.
Oh,
And
thank you.
we're curious though about, like, how did you start coming up though with that early guitar style early on? Where did the DIY origin story for Dustin Wong begin?
I mean, Baltimore, being in Baltimore,
Mm.
you know, you're exposed to, I think having so many warehouses like as living spaces was really helpful for
Oh, that's cool.
kids. You
Mhm.
know, rent is cheap, the
Mhm.
spaces are huge.
Mhm.
All you need to get is like a couple cheap PA speakers and a mixer, and
Oh,
you can do a show.
Yeah.
And um, when I started to, when I was, you know, living in Baltimore in the beginning, like Dan Deacon would do these shows at um, this warehouse space called Copycat Building,
Oh, that's sick.
and yeah, and then, you know, I was starting to do band stuff, and it was just this organic kind of word by mouth. Um, it's the thing to do on the weekends. Like, you know,
Yeah.
hundreds of kids would go and
Mhm.
mosh and get sweaty.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was a really good time. Like before Dan Deacon, you know, it was more of a free jazz noise city, and you know, with
Interesting.
like kind of the Tarantula Hill, like the Red Room,
Mhm.
like Twig Harper, like kind of stuff centered around that. And I think Dan Deacon brought in this new sense of humor and angle, and it kind of made the city lighter. It kind of took itself a little bit seriously before that, I think, and it was a nice balance, I think.
That's awesome. So were you like into like the free jazz stuff too, like before?
I would go to the shows, like,
Yeah.
go to the High Zero Foundation festival and like the Red Room. And I think I was a bit too young. I was like,
Oh, okay.
21, 22. So
Yeah.
I was more, I wanted to rock.
Yeah.
And, of course, your sensibility changes as you grow older, and
What
you're
was
introduced to other.
Maddie, what was that radio station that Luke Stewart is on in the Baltimore area, or is that DC? I don't remember.
Oh, it was for DC. I
Oh,
forget
okay,
about
never mind. It
this.
was like DC. We had like Luke Stewart on the show, and like he was just telling us all about like the free jazz like scene and how like he got really involved in like free jazz like radio and stuff like over in that area. But yeah, I don't know. Sounds like there's really cool history over there in terms of that.
Definitely.
When
It's kind of an underrated town still.
oddly enough, yeah. I don't know how or why. I feel though slowly over time I've realized like there's something that came out of Baltimore. And that even goes, I think, for Providence, Rhode Island as well. The whole load records or the noise stuff out there doesn't quite get as acknowledged. But
I think that kind of space is really helpful for artists, because like attention can really hinder with expression sometimes.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
When you're left alone, you can kind of do your thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like figure out like your own sound. Like you don't have the pressure of like people wanting you to do like a certain thing.
Yeah. That's why I'm very content.
Is that again though what it felt like doing small band stuff in Baltimore there with Ecstatic Sunshine and Ponytail at that time?
I mean, we would just practice at my house, like in the back room. It was kind of the music room.
That's so sick.
But I know during that time, and this is fine because it also does tie in a bit to the floating series and the person who has long running it, Noah Klein. But I believe in 2019 you put this out again.
Yes.
Which
oh my god.
A reissue of your 2009 original LP or CD of Seasons.
Yes.
And this was the first solo release you've done, and with this new one you wrote a little note on the back where you talked about kind of just, you didn't know music theory, you were just kind of testing what you could do with your material. And I'm curious though, what was at the time, what was going through making Seasons?
I mean, to me, it was like at the time the most ambitious thing I've ever done. And it was like music I made from 2001 till I think 4, and it was like a compilation of that. And in the beginning, I had this music or sound software called Sound Edit 16, which was an OS 9 software, Mac OS 9, and you would punch in like 0.1 seconds of, and there's like a little keyboard thing, and you point to a note, and then you say 0.2 seconds of silence, and that's how you compose.
Interesting.
Oh my goodness.
But thankfully, when you hit the keyboard, it rings the note. So I would sing the note and kind of like find the note on the keyboard. And that's how I would like construct the songs, because I didn't know how to play at all,
Whoa. So Seasons, again, it dates back way earlier than I imagined, but this is really like your first proper kind of home recordings, the earliest DIY stuff you'd been doing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know how to play guitar either. Like it would be like, there might be a 30-second space. I'll hit one note, hit stop, let it play again, record, hit the next note,
Whoa.
And it was that kind of like, that's how I learned how to, and now thankfully I can actually play this instrument.
Is there stuff though that you miss about that that softer, because I know I'm thinking about like Keith Fullerton Whitman's playthroughs, and he
Mm.
sort of has hinted at like he is a little bit saddened by the fact that he can't access that software he made that on with an early Mac. What he
Mm.
got, but out of that in like 2001 and 2002, it's just gone because of updates and
It,
technology moving forward.
I mean, it's always been a refinement of process. Like, once I've gotten, like, okay, I figured out how to do this process, and now I know how to play my instrument better than I did.
Mhm.
Like, it's quicker turnaround, and I want it to be quicker every time.
Yeah.
Like before, it wasn't as intuitive. It was very like everything was cerebral, and
Mhm.
that's something I don't want to be in that zone, really.
Yeah.
Like I want it to be second nature
Mhm.
and to be organic, and you know like it feels better to know what to say at the right time than have prepared words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It feels better.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wait, Maddie, I lost my spot. Where are we at?
Oh, we're right over here. I think we
Okay.
can.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did you come to work with like Thrill Jockey in like the early 2010s?
That was there's a guy in Baltimore at the time named Jason Urich, and he had a record store in central Baltimore, in Mount Vernon, and he would put on shows at his warehouse space called the Florist Tree. And he was older, like maybe 10
Mhm.
years older, and he would always share music with the young
Mhm.
musicians, and he would be the one introducing us to like krautrock, like Can
Oh,
and
that's sick.
all
Yeah.
harmonia, and
Mhm.
we're like, because he had all this knowledge.
Mhm.
So I sent him the record that was like maybe half of Infinite Love,
Okay, sick.
that put out on Thrill Jockey. He just out of the blue was like, "Can you just send that to me?" And I was like, "Okay." And then he sent that to Thrill Jockey,
Wow.
and Thrill Jockey got in touch with me, and
Oh, wow, that's wild.
yeah, yeah. So I was blown away, and so I grew up with Tortoise, and
Yeah, for sure. That must have been like huge coming from like DIY, like all of a sudden through, I don't know, I'm assuming getting an email from Thrill Jockey and being like, whoa,
yeah, my jaw dropped. Yeah, for
Wow.
sure.
dude, that's so
And
sick. Did
I
you
think.
go ahead, Maddie?
Whatever. No, you go. You go, Thomas. You got this.
Did you feel like there was like any like limitations, I don't know, on your work or anything? Like when you started working with Thrill Jockey, like did you feel like it changed like your workflow a little
Only
bit or?
The only limitation was my process, I think,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I was working with loops and
Mhm.
pedals, and it was just one guitar,
Yeah.
and very composed. Everything was composed, and
Mhm.
my I was coming out of Ponytail, and
Mhm.
touring with Ponytail. We had this solid set of 8 songs that we would play every night,
Yeah.
like a 40-minute set.
Mhm.
And we would get so good at it. You're thinking about laundry or the food you're going to eat
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
on stage.
Yeah.
You're not in it. And
Mhm.
so I was like, okay, 8 songs. It's because of the limited amount of songs.
Mhm.
So I'm going to write 40 songs, and I'll be able to choose from this 40. But then it was just like I had to do it. My kind of like perfectionist side of me would be like, oh, I have to play these compositions
Mhm.
Mhm.
right every time.
Mhm.
And then I was doing the thing to myself, that what the even the amount of even if you have 40, it still didn't feel enough
Yeah.
to give it that dynamism within
Mhm.
the set. So I was like, maybe yeah. So the only limitation was that I was making the limitations for myself.
Mhm. Oh, that's cool. So this like first one that I noticed was like 80 minutes long. Like How long did that like take you? That's pretty crazy.
That was a good. That came along pretty quickly. Those 3 records was like, it was like, you know, an experiment that was being explored and developed and then refined. So by the 3rd record, I was like hitting a wall. I was like,
Oh, really?
I can't make any more of these. Like,
Yeah.
it'll be the same thing. And meeting Takako, like being introduced to using the voice more and using the keyboard and the drum machine, it was like, oh, there's like all these different ways.
Yeah.
The works that you've done, because it's right there, like concurrent to that last album, or right after you start working with Takako, and the release, I checked out a couple of them, and these are really brilliant releases. Also, because compared to even the stuff that Seasons sort of hints at, and that later becomes really realized on the Jockey albums, there's much more of a loopy dance quality. The loops are still present, but there's so much more of a playfulness with beats that you could dance to that continue to slink around and change. And I'm wondering again, especially now that knowing a bit about the context that you have with the warehouse parties, had you wanted to incorporate dance elements sooner into your work?
It's changed quite a bit. That's changed quite a bit as well. I mean, with Takako, we figured out a way to loop things together where one looper is like, we're both feeding sounds into it, and it's like locked in. So we were doing these kind of, more beat driven things as well. And but the thing with like a singular loop, when you're hearing it over and over again, there's a certain shelf life. The food can go bad really quick.
Yeah.
And you need to keep feeding it, like fermenting it, and like keep it alive. And there's constant, I don't know, action that's needed. And then moving here to LA, like that completely shifted, where I don't want to make perfect loops anymore. And I want the loops to be irregular, and I'm using multiple loops so they work together in a more these different shaped, sized circles working together.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh, wait, Thomas, where are you going?
Oh no, go ahead, Maddie. Sorry.
I guess because again, we keep the loops being such a central crutch in the work that you've done here, Dustin. Are there any other particular people that you look to, just kind of outside of loops, influential wise, or just kind of try to find something out of?
Well, I live in downtown area in Los Angeles, and like my apartment kind of is on the corner of the building in an intersection. And a lot of noises, trucks, people screaming, sirens. And so when you're practicing, those sounds kind of infiltrate into your space. And on Sundays, there's a lady who sells tamale, and she sings out this chant, tamale, tamale. And it works with what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was woken up to 3 trucks backing up with with each truck having different tones. And those each car has a different sized loop.
Yeah.
And it was creating these arpeggios, and it was beautiful. And so I'm trying to take in all the noises of my intersection.
That's sick. How long have you like been at this intersection?
About 3 years now.
Okay, that's cool. So you've like had some time to like sit with it and like learn to appreciate that sound?
Yeah. I mean, there was some annoyance at first. Yeah. But kind of I'm enjoying it now. Yeah.
Dude, that's so cool. So you like recording it and stuff, or you kind of just like?
It's more like a motorcycle might pass, and it's like yes, that type of drone would work. You know,
Yeah.
and know, like
Oh,
The
that's
me
cool.
interpretation.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so lovely.
Yeah, that's so sick.
I guess that leads us to the present, if I'm
Okay.
being honest. We're kind of touching on it a bit here with some aspect of what's been a guiding force for Perpetual Morphosis. It's your first album proper in 5 years, and you're returning to Hausu Mountain, which also curious about how you got in contact with Hausu Mountain back there in 2017 to 2018.
Well, I knew Doug and Max before they worked on labels. You know, before they
Oh,
were
really?
they were interns at Thrill Jockey. But
Oh,
Yes.
dude, that's
Yeah.
sick.
Doug. We meant to talk to Doug about that. I know
Right.
Max pointed us to that.
Yeah.
But I knew them even before that.
Wow.
Like they would come to my show, like at the Empty Bottle,
Mhm.
Oh,
and
wow.
and they, you know, they were so enthused and like into it, and I was like really was feeling really grateful just to kind of, you know, be in, you know, to hear that from them.
Yeah.
And we kept in touch, you know, and you know they made music through Goodwill Smith, and
Did you do a release of the Goodwill Smith or a collaboration?
yeah, with Takako.
Oh, that's sick.
We did a little thing around the US. We were asked to play the Broad Museum here in LA.
Oh, dude, that's
before
so cool. Actually, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just went
we
there for the first time. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. So through that I was like, it'll be, you know, I always kind of want to hit more birds than I can with one stone. And
Mhm.
so it's like, let's not just perform, let's meet with our friends and record stuff while we're here in
Mhm.
America, because we were still in Japan.
Mhm.
So we got in touch with Doug, Max, and Natalie, and we're like, let's do a session and record something. And we went to Natalie's house and set everything up with, you know, very minimal mics and inputs. And yeah, we did like maybe an hour and a half, and we turned that into a record for Umor Rex.
Oh, dude, that's sick. Umarex is really good.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're really cool. I found
Thanks.
a couple of their tapes when I was in Berlin at like a random record store. It was pretty cool. But
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Did you pick them up? Please tell me you
I
did.
picked up one because I was like, I've never seen an
Yes.
Umarex tape in the wild,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna pick
You
this up.
never see them in the wild, so
Yeah.
you gotta pick it. I was at Permanent Records Roadhouse and they had a Crash Cymbals tape, and I got really excited.
Heck yeah.
So for 99 cents, picked that up. Which also, if I recall, Dustin, you do have a show coming up at the Permanent Records Roadhouse.
I do, yes.
16 days. Good luck.
Oh,
It's a
that's
great
sick.
venue. It's basically like the Empty Bottle.
Yes, I love that place. Yeah.
But I guess or no, go wherever you were going.
Oh yeah. Well, and then, you know, we kept in touch, and then they were doing the internship at Thrill Jockey, and then they decided to do their label Hausu Mountain. And then, you know, 5 years ago, I was shopping around this record, and it wasn't really getting any traction.
Mhm.
And Doug and Max were like, "We'll release it." So I was like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
And yeah, and you know, it was a very experimental record where
Mhm.
you know, I was trying a lot of new things out, kind of trying to push myself, and yeah, just thankful that they want to release something where, you know, I'm just still trying to figure things out.
Mhm. That's
There's
awesome.
there's some, because you do have a Wikipedia page which features one wild piece of info about your 2014 guitar rig. And there's a lot of unique elements to this. The Japanese made MIJ Fender Telecaster from the 80s, which is then fed through a pedal chain, including your Boss TU2 tuner, Foxtrot Octatron, Boss DS1 distortion, an ISP decimator noise gate, Boss DD3 digital light. We can keep going. There's too many more lines, but I'm curious, in the time between this 2014 kind of guitar rig that you had you been updating that? Had you been looking at that and saying, maybe I don't want to even kind of use this in the same way?
Oh, it's changed quite a bit,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah. like I think that setup, what was unique was that there was a delay pedal before and after the loop pedal.
Seeing,
So
yeah.
I would affect the loops, like make it double time or triple time on the delay with the delay. So then it could change the delay, change the loop, but kind of like give it another angle. But since then, I've shifted from one looper to 4 loopers.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And I don't use the Boss looper anymore. I use the Ditto X2, which has like a reverse function and a double speed function,
Oh, that's
which
sick.
gives it so much more, I don't know, option, where I'm bouncing one loop to another looper like in double speed or in reverse, and doing maybe bouncing one loop, but it's double speed, but it's in 17 rather than 16.
oh, oh my
If
god.
that makes sense.
Vaguely, on a very vague string, because we don't know what
That's
music
wild.
theory, but I can start to see how it's affecting certain tracks in the ways that you're talking about a little bit earlier, because a lot of Perpetual Morphosis is ambient broadly, but then, and this was the thing that kept throwing me off of this, is it builds off of some of that earlier work you've done with Takako, and then as well as with kind of the hyper realist sound design. There's really sudden just jolts to it. And there's a lot of movement to it in a way that I hadn't anticipated, I think.
Cool. I really appreciate that. I mean, I think it has a lot of influence from like all the early AI stuff, and VR,
Oh, okay.
like the deep dream and stable diffusion, like kind of the AI image generation stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
And that stuff's so immersive and musical, visually musical. And I've just been like obsessed with that. And I was like, I wonder, I want to capture this feeling and of kind of, it's not, like in Dune, where you can travel by being still.
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling. Yeah.
And I know you did the album artwork for this upcoming cassette, which is got a lot of different squiggles for stuff.
Yeah.
That
This.
here you go.
Oh,
Oh,
that's sick. Was that like 3D printed or?
It's paper clips.
Oh, dude, that's sick.
And super glue. And yeah, so then it would rotate, and I would layer the same video, but each layer would be slightly off, like 99% slower, 98% slower, 97% slower, and then phases. But that video is actually way longer, and at the end it comes back together. That's one.
That's sick. I wanted to ask too, do you remember like that AI that like Google made? This was in like 2015, but it was like whenever you would put like a photo into it or something, it would like generate all kinds of like really weird, like it almost like kind of seemed to like lean towards the same thing because this was like earlier AI, but it would
It's Deep
always,
Dream.
yeah, the deep dream. Yeah. 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 Do you remember
Yeah.
that? That was so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really into that, and Twitch did a kind of demonstration, a 24-hour demonstration where people would do prompts.
Oh,
But it
really?
was like single words, cat, cactus, anything. And, the image would start changing. And then archive.org had it. You could download the 24-hour video.
Oh, really?
And for this like super lightweight 6 gigs.
Oh, okay. That's not too shabby.
That's
For
not that
24
bad.
hours of video.
Yeah.
And I would just watch that.
Oh, really?
Night. Yeah, like maybe an hour at a time.
Dude,
And,
that's sick.
And I would just kind of study it,
Yeah.
explore, so that was huge. Yeah.
Did that play into any kind of visual or something you were thinking about live? Or
It
when
was
you
just that kind of, things changing slowly
Mm-hmm.
into from one thing to the next,
yeah.
but encompassing, like,
Mm-hmm.
and your mind correlates, and it's psychedelic.
Mm-hmm. Super psychedelic, like,
Very,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I always thought those were so crazy. It's interesting too seeing how like the newer AIs, like, I don't know, I've seen people online saying like you can have like AI generate headshots, you know what I mean? For
hmm
yourself, which is like really interesting, and it's like very uncanny valley. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
some of them are good, and then some of them are just like that just looks like off a little bit.
hmm
You know what I
hmm
mean? It'll have like an arm that like their arms are crossed and then like the arm just goes into like nothing, like, or it goes into the other arm. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like it just
Like
seeing
they're
like
double jointed, right?
exactly, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
really interesting just
The
seeing like
teeth.
AI like generation generating like different things. Um
Yeah, yeah. And that, yeah, it's a whole nother world now.
mhm.
Like the whole AI generated commercials that are popping up on,
Dude,
Mm.
yeah.
yeah, it's, I kind of love it.
Mm.
Or like, what is
Uh,
it like? Didn't Drake have an AI generated song or something? I feel like I've been seeing people
Oh,
talk about that recently, like an
there
AI
was
mm,
that
Drake song or
one.
something.
I've seen the pizza and the beer ads, and they're
yes.
horrible. And it's like I have no clue what to do this, but it's also just a lot of fun because you can't quite look away at. Well, you just let something go crazy, and this is what it gave you.
hmm
There's something to it. I remember, and it's like there's like a Holly Hendren tweet from years ago where she just foresees like going to be able to do this in a few years, where you just type something in and it's going to give you what you want, or at least give you that. And
Right.
you've gotten there now.
I mean, I'm all for it. I'm kind of, I, I want, it would be so great, like, if individuals can make movies by themselves, like,
Yeah.
without a crew,
Hmm.
like,
Honestly, on that level, it's revolutionary. Like I'm trying to think of is the author Kyle Gann, and he's the Village Voice critic, and he wrote about composer music. And there's in Downtown Music, which collects a bunch of his articles. He writes about, I believe, a 1988 or 89 symposium out in the Midwest. I want to say in Wisconsin about new music, and one composers that are dealing with early computers. They're dealing
mm,
with like they're kind of contemplating AI in the late 80s, and one of them reveals I fed an AI basically, or not an AI, but a program,
Hmm.
all of his compositions because it's all based on 12 tone, it's all based on numbers and all kinds of different stuff there. Computer can work with that. And he's like, well, if I've got writer's block, I can just have it generate something
Hmm.
and just generate something random. It doesn't matter if it's going to be perfect piece, but he could play off of the idea and start going from there.
Yeah.
And I thought this
I
really,
love that. Yeah.
yeah, 88 or 89 to be like, this was here. This is kind of, the platonic idea of what everybody wants it to be used for, I think.
That's great, because I feel like he made a process for himself that he could trust.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's about. It's about us making these processes for ourselves that we can build on to create even more different processes that can work together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what AI is. And I don't know, I'm really inspired by that and influenced by that. And like the idea of, like, I can just put something into a machine and it'll initialize something.
Hmm.
It'll start something. And like my setup is similar with like my loop pedals. Like, I don't have any idea, but I can just loop one note and can start
Hmm.
something, and that's enough sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I guess Maddie, does that do it with our questions? We were.
There's one slight realm I do want to talk about before
Oh
we
yeah,
get
let's
to
do
the,
it.
which is about the live aspect. I think about some of your performance here, Dustin, only because you've got almost 20 years, if not 20 years of live performance on you. And I'm curious, again, with the time from Thrill Jockey to where you are now, how you've noticed gigs have changed and how personally you've adapted in regards to just your live setup and where you kind of go.
I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like shows sound better now than it
Whoa.
used to.
Oh, really?
I think like 20 years ago, there would be shows where it's like, wow, this sounds bad. Like it's not the music, but the sound, you know. I think there's just better equipment. This is just totally technical, but
Like PAs or better PAs are
yeah,
cheaper now, I
yeah.
guess. I don't know. More
And
accessible.
you know, and it's not like I've been in the same same place for 20 years. It's been different places, and every place has a different attitude for live performances. You
Mhm.
know, like Tokyo was hard. Like my 6 years there, like it was a warm reception in the beginning, but then they got bored with me.
Oh, really?
So like, or I don't know, I couldn't read the crowd at all,
Yeah.
and that was really, but it's very polite. You know, there's applause,
Mhm.
but there's no opinion
Yeah.
on your
Interesting.
performance, and so I felt like I was stewing up creatively, like I was becoming too much of myself,
Mhm.
which is not myself. You
Yeah.
know, like you can only be yourself the most with other people interacting with you, giving you, you know, checking on you, and you know, being real with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't know, like, but moving back here or moving to LA, like I've noticed like people really appreciate just any attempt in experimentation. Like if it's
Mhm.
something, somebody's trying something different, like you can feel the appreciation in the crowd.
Mhm.
And that was kind of mind blowing when I moved here.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
Interesting. I wonder, yeah, I don't know what would be the cause of that. Maybe just people in LA are more, I don't know, have been exposed more to, I guess, just like experimentation, stuff like that in terms of like art and music. Um,
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
mhm.
But maybe it's like, maybe it's just tasty for them. I don't know.
Yeah. Different places have different tastes, I guess. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Did you find that though, kind of same reception with American audiences in the early 2010s when you were there kind of on Thrill Jockey? Did they even help in any capacity with like getting you to shows or kind of getting you on the road at that time?
I think, well, they introduced me to some booking agents,
Mhm.
like for tours,
Mhm.
and, you know, it was more like a rock club circuit.
I can
Oh, I
see,
see.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and then I guess I don't see as many people like standing with their arms crossed, looking sternly at the stage as much
Yeah.
as,
Okay, that's good.
yeah,
As
Trying
much
to
as
it's
like
a
reclaim
good
those
thing.
people. I'm sometimes one of those people, but I'm trying to reclaim that role. Trying to talk
There's
after
this, putting your hand
that's so
under your
funny.
chin.
Contemplating like
I do this a lot, maybe like at shows, you know,
me and my
putting
friends
my
always like whenever we go to like rock gigs or something, we always make fun of like or not make fun of, but you always just see the people with like a beer just like that the whole time, you know what I mean? Just
yeah, yeah.
and we always like just like joke about that
They're
how it's
holding
like
it down.
yeah.
Hopefully they're enjoying it, you know.
Yeah, hopefully they're enjoying it. It just cracks us up because they're always just like just perfectly still. It's like are you trying to be cool, dude? Like
I'm gonna
but
start bringing a handkerchief to shows. I think just it's good
Wave
to
it around.
yeah.
wave it around and let out emotion. When the
Yeah.
artist is good, you should just be earnest there about it. That's how I
Yeah.
felt with agriculture.
Shed a
That's really
couple
nice.
tears, use the handkerchief to wipe them off.
Yeah, man, I haven't cried at a show in a while. I feel like the last show I cried at was a Daniel Johnston show.
Oh my
Oh, where'd you
goodness.
see Daniel Johnston?
That was at All Tomorrow's Parties. Oh my god, that was like,
Whoa, that's a throwback. 'Cause
yeah,
they haven't done one of those in 7 years.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Goodness. Yeah.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
I saw Daniel Johnston once at the Hollywood Bowl. That was pretty crazy. It was one of those shows where I was like, I never thought I'd actually be able to see this dude play live. Which is pretty sick. It was Neutral Milk Hotel and Daniel Johnston and the Breeders.
Oh my God. Wow.
Isn't that kind of wild?
That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, dude. That was like probably like one of my first shows I think I ever started going to, like around like high school. And yeah, it was crazy. Anyways, should we move into these like listener questions, Maddie?
We got to do it. I think this is.
Oh, there's wow.
We
Okay.
got like a lot, Dustin. It's actually like pretty wild.
This is probably the biggest mailbag.
Oh my God.
While.
Okay.
And don't worry though, they're so not scary.
So this one, I guess, was also just from like, yeah, I guess this was from me. I was gonna ask you in the beginning, but like, you know, the conversation flowed elsewhere. But I kind of just wanted to like talk like a bit about like your radio show and like Dub Lab and stuff. Like it's always nice to have like a fellow like radio person on the show, you know?
I got in, you know, this was when I moved to LA. I was looking for an apartment with my brother, and he was already here living, and I was like, I had a week here in LA, and my friend invited me to a show in Little Tokyo, and I brought my gear anyway, just because I wanted to practice, keep my chops.
Yeah.
And I visited a friend before the show, and we jammed. And then when I went to the show, my friend saw that I was having my gear. He was like, "You should play a set right now." And I was like, "Okay." And I set up, and I did a thing. And then the person who lived in that space, who started talking to me, is like, "I have a show at Dub Lab. I want to interview you, and can you do a performance?"
Oh, that's sick.
On my show. So that his name's Jasmine Velasco. He has a show on Dub Lab, and then when I finished the interview, a person at a Jay from Dub Lab came to me and was like, "Do you want a show?"
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, yes, because I've never done anything like that, and I've looked up to college radio my entire 20s and teenage years. Like, I've always wanted to do that and never got the chance to. And you know, I love the college radio vibe of these kind of lackadaisical, sleepy DJs, like saying the credits to their playlist.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then, you know, the only time I kind of got to DJ was like on tour in the car with like your iPod.
Yeah.
The one with the dial.
Oh yeah. Throwback.
And it's like, you know, you have these long drives and you're like trying to make that time entertaining or at least interesting.
Yeah.
So you're like trying to tie in these different songs together, and that's kind of the vibe of the Dub Lab show I'm doing. Yeah.
Dude, that's sick. I'm gonna just next time I listen, I'm gonna be like, Dustin was jamming to an iPod, or like, you know, thinking I'll just like think of it as you like scrolling through an old school iPod or something. Like, yeah. That's sick, Dustin. Dub Lab is so legendary, dude. Like, yeah, it's cool. There's like so many cool people there. Do you know Chuck Suhu?
Yes. He's a sweetheart.
Chuck is like the nicest person ever. Like, we had Chuck on the show like a couple of years ago at this point, but we're gonna have
coming up on 3. Yeah, but
3 years, but we're gonna have him on the show in July. He's gonna come up and do a live performance with his like underwater like garden ensemble band.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
by the way,
sick.
I don't know if it's properly out today, but I know he has new music on Geographic North, and it is
that too.
terrific. A big shout out. By the time this is airing, An Evening Stroll to Garden Paradise, I believe that's the title, should be out. and it's very good.
Shout
regarding
out Chuck,
cartoons.
dude. Chuck is so sick and just like
Shout
yeah.
out Coyote. Shout out Geographic North.
I know like Chuck like works at Dub Lab and stuff. Anyways, yeah, Dub Lab's cool. We had like a radio, there was like a college radio panel one time when I like first started at KCSB, and someone from Dub Lab was there and was just like talking about the station. That's like when I found out what Dub Lab was from that person like sitting on the panel and just like talking about it. And I was like, that is so sick that like, yeah. Anyways, that's like literally the epitome of just like grassroots. Like, yeah, it's so sick.
Yeah, I've been I dropped the ball the past 2 months because I was so busy with the residencies. But I definitely want to come back, and for next July for sure we'll have a show up.
Let's go. I'll tune in July. Sounds good. Okay, so this next one.
These were the funniest questions.
Yeah, they're pretty funny. This one says, can you talk about the laundromat video Ponytail did and Ponytail reunion when?
Oh man. Well, I can definitely answer the first question. That was through Pitchfork. And in Brooklyn, and they asked for permission at that laundromat if they could have a band there and
that's sick.
Perform and record, and people were still doing their laundry, while we were playing.
Oh wow.
And it was called ADD, I think, or ADA. It's like analog digital, where they would record on VHS cameras and record on cassette tapes and then digitize them. But,
okay. Yeah. You see that on the CDs, the 3 letters.
Yeah.
I've only seen like one ADD recently. It was something weird, but yeah, that happens rarely.
Right. And then we performed maybe 3 or 4 songs. I was wearing an anime shirt. This anime called Touch. It's a high school romance drama about a kid who plays baseball.
That's sick.
Are there any other anime you recommend?
Oh, there's so many good ones.
Quick tangent here because it's worth it.
What kind of experience do you want?
Well, I just got the last set of Utena DVDs. I have the last 26 episodes there, and I cruised on that. I love that, and I've got Blue Sub number 6 and GTO up next.
GTO, so like 90s anime.
I'm looking for 90, and I have Yu Yu Hakusho. I just got done with the first season, or the first like 28 episodes. So
oh man, that's so good. I grew up on that.
Hell yeah. I can't believe it took me years to get to this. I should have got to these so much sooner. I did Bebop and Outlaw Star and Big O like when I was in middle school, but just never got to this.
I mean, Chainsaw Man is really good.
Okay.
That's a very recent one.
Thank you for the recommendation of a recent one like that. I've been a little skeptical to do that.
But I would read the comics. The comics are exceptional.
Right.
And there's a kind of, I don't want to spoil it, but kind of a Oedipus tragedy that happens.
Oh no.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Maddie, are you into reading like manga and stuff at your library, or?
I don't do manga. I occasionally do graphic novels, but it's mostly music history books right now.
Sick.
I've never been like, no, I've done the one author's manga that he published between, I want to say 88 to 89 about Japan in the 20th century. I want to say it was the Showa period.
Showa, yeah.
Thank you. And it's just, I've only read the first volume of that, which covers right up to about 1939.
Oh wow, that sounds intense.
He apparently goes he shows up in it himself because he did fight in World War II. He ends up losing an arm, but he became a popular manga artist in the 50s.
Shigeru Mizuki.
Yes, it's Mizuki's. It's his giant history of Japan there in the 20th century.
Yeah, he fought in the war and lost his arm. Yeah. And
so I need to get volume 2 and volume 3 and continue that. That's my kind of manga.
Yeah, he advocated for, like anti-war things in his entire life.
That's really cool. That's awesome.
Love his work. Yeah.
All right. Okay, this next one says, can you talk about your collaborative process with Takako on Party on a Floating Cake?
Yeah. That was the first real song we made together. It started with the chord progression with 2 delay pedals, and both on slapback, but with settings that corresponded together in double time.
Mm-hmm.
And the delay after the looper is on entirely for the first section, and it keeps building and building, and the change is when I turn off the delay, when everything kind of cuts off. It's we were in a relationship at the time, and we were very in love, and I think it was a song that really captured that feeling at the time.
Oh, that's really nice. That's so sweet. Yeah, that song is really good in particular. I feel like all the stuff that you guys did was also really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm really proud of what we did. Yeah, I like what we did.
Okay, so this next one says, what other kinds of non-music art are you enjoying at the moment?
I mean, I think we talked about it a little bit with like the AI stuff.
I guess that's true, yeah.
Yeah, the stable diffusion. I'm just wondering where that's going to head, and I'm just paying attention to that right now.
Awesome. Okay, so this one says, what have you been listening to lately?
Oh, I feel like the one track that's made me really feel like a teenager recently is this Michio Ogawa track. She was in this band called Chakra.
Oh, nice.
And there's this track called Yomise no Otoko. It's like the man at the night market or the night store. And just, I don't know, the lyrics are in Japanese, but I understand it, and just, I don't know, just thinking about it makes me kind of shivery.
What's the song called and the artist again?
Michio Ogawa and Yomise no Otoko.
Nice. Heck yeah. Where can people find that if they want to check it out?
I mean, I think you can. It's on Spotify and
Sick.
all those platforms. Yeah. If not, it's definitely on YouTube.
Awesome. All right, so this next one says Dash Lewis says hey.
Yeah, yo. I saw him. We played a show at Coaxial Arts before the pandemic. Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
really, dude? I would have been so down to see that. I didn't know Dash was in LA. That's crazy.
Yeah, he was on tour, and it was through Colin, with Bryn. They were friends, and yeah, amazing artist. Yeah.
Yeah, Dash is super cool. We had Dash on the show. I don't know.
Last year about this time, or about 10 months ago, I want to say in August last year.
Okay.
Something
and
like that.
He's had a nice little glow up. He's got some Pitchfork hip hop reviews now. And
nice.
I think he's got another Eraserhood sequel with Jeff Ziegler coming out. So
sick.
Thank you, Dash, for saying hey.
Hey.
We love you, man.
Heck yeah, Dash.
All right, final 3 questions here.
This next one.
These are good ones.
It says, can you tell us about your work on the monitor?
With Titus Andronicus.
Yes, that shows up as a wild disc ops credit. Even I was shocked to see that.
He was like, Patrick was like, hey, can we come over to your house? And I was like,
Patrick
okay.
Stickles. Wow.
And him and a few of the Titus guys came to my house in Baltimore with recording equipment, and I was like, all right, you're gonna play guitar on one of our tracks. And I was like, and I didn't know the song.
Yeah.
But the moment I heard it, I was like, oh, it's in G. Okay. I'll just play in G, I guess. And then and he was like very happy with it. And yeah.
That's sick, and that's the story of your work on the monitor.
Damn. Thank you for contributing to one of the best American punk albums of the 20th century. It's huge work.
Wow.
It gets me right. That one moves me to tears. I'm not kidding. It's a beautiful listen, I think.
I haven't listened to it in a long time. I'll give it a listen tonight.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah. Let us know what you think listening back.
Mm-hmm.
This next one is from a homie, and it says, what food joint has the best burger and why?
Oh, man. That's so hard. There was this place near Perfect Circuit called Rogers. It was like a chili burger place, but you can get it like 5 patties.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
And I did it. I was very proud of that. And but there's another place called Burger Shop or Burger Time. There's a burger called the 420.
Hell yeah.
And I used to get it when it was like, it was a $12 burger. Now it's a $15 burger.
Yeah,
I can't do it anymore. I can't get myself to really spend that money on that burger.
Yeah.
And there was this place right across the street from me called Porchetta Republic. It was an Italian sandwich shop, and they had an Angus burger that was $12. Love that burger. Now it's closed.
Yeah. Bummer.
No.
We're in a bit of a burger drought right now.
We're in a burger drought. That was from the homie Patrick Shirishi. That's a classic.
It's Fast Food Hound Patrick. He loves this.
That's a classic Patrick question. He always, like, whenever we have somebody he knows on the show, he'll always ask like something about fast food. It's like for a hot minute, right, Manny? For like a few months, he would just DM us every time, like, what's your go-to order at Taco Bell? And that was the classic Patrick question for a long time. That one was sick. What's your go-to order at Taco Bell?
Patrick, thank you for coming back tonight for this.
Thanks, Patrick.
Okay, this last one says, how are you so chill?
Chill? I don't know. I might look chill, but I'm probably hurting inside.
Oof.
I don't know. I think there isn't that many people yelling at me. That's a good thing.
That's nice.
Or telling me what to do. So I think that's really helpful.
Don't tell Dustin what to do, and we'll keep it chill. You know what I mean? All right, dude. Well, that's it for the mailbag here. Where can people keep up with all things Dustin Wong?
I mean, I guess my Instagram page. I do, or at my Bandcamp page, which is merging now. It's just going to be DustinWong.bandcamp. But
sick.
Yeah, just through those. I'm not really good at social media. It's just like it's almost like programming for me.
Social media can be difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any like upcoming shows that people can catch or anything?
Yes. Next week at Sunday with Floating, I'll be playing with Marta T. Singa.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
They play sax, and still ruminating on what the setup will be. But
that's awesome. Good. I'm going to have to catch another Floating show. It's been a bit. What was the last one me and you went to, Maddie? It was in the Japanese garden. Oh, was that?
Actually, no. The last one I saw might have been Patrick's previous performance with Jordan Reyes.
We have like one more question here, and it's
Okay.
kind of the biggest of the show, Dustin. It's pretty heavy. Do you want me to take it, Maddie, or do you want to
Thomas,
take
I think you got this. I think
Okay.
you got this.
Heavy.
I'm not good at not necessarily heavy, but Maddie is good at the scenarios. I'm not good at scenarios, so I just lay it out, right? So
That's why it's so heavy.
a rat is going to jump into your mouth. Do you want this rat to jump into your mouth head first or butt first, and why?
Wow.
If you have any questions about the rat, you can feel free to ask us. We can contextualize it.
Oh, so there's details like, is the rat dirty?
Oh, Maddie, you can.
No.
Maddie lays these out, the details.
Actually not. This is a clean white lab rat. Real, top of the class, graduated top of the class.
So for how long is it in your mouth?
It's honestly all about how the user's going to take it. The jump's going to be short. It can be a short length. How long that short length is going to be is how you respond and resonate.
Yeah, so it's you like choose your own destiny here.
Mm-hmm.
Head first, for sure.
Why
Huge.
head first?
It's way more sanitary than the butt.
I guess that's true, yeah.
Understandable. Yeah.
Like anything can happen. Like the mouse will be afraid.
Mhm.
And when creatures are afraid, defecation can happen.
That's true. You don't want the defecation.
And like if it's head first, I can still coddle the head in a like make sure I don't bite it.
Yeah.
Like
the rat abides. The rat respects.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The rat
So
feels
first.
the rat feels probably rather lucky that it met its
Sorry,
fate.
yeah, this hilarity of it all.
Yeah. This rat feels probably rather lucky that it met its fate with Dustin rather than somebody else. We've had plenty of people that say they just bite the head off, and we're always just like, okay, wow, that's crazy.
A bunch of Ozzy Osbournes.
Right, that's what I always say.
Yeah.
We're always shaking our head with them.
It's
right.
Like, you said it graduated top class.
Yeah, top of the class. It's a good guy.
Yeah, means we could probably communicate.
True. This is like a ratatouille rat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Doing wisecracks and stuff.
Yeah. Pulling the strings, you know what I mean? Helping you
Yeah. Sounds like my new best friend. Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, that's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning into TBD and KCSB FM 91.9 every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Net Radio every Wednesday, 7 p.m. This has been Dustin Wong out of LA. Thanks, Dustin.
Thank you so much.